Everyone, take your seats, hands where the spirits can see them. Breathe in slow and breathe out even slower. Welcome to One Up the Annals. I am Victoria, your medium, and the one the spirits agreed to speak through. If you are listening to this, you're already part of the circle. Your headphones are your place at the table. Your screen is the candle, and the space behind you is the doorway. We gather tonight not to provoke, not to command, but to invite spirits who walk the back lot, who rest in rafters, who never left the set. Sit with us a while, listen, watch. We will speak your name gently.
Exorcismus te omnis in mundi spiritus.
The circle is open. Séance disclaimer. While you're listening, if you hear a footstep, a breath, a whisper that doesn't belong, don't be afraid. That means the connection is strong. Film has always been a doorway. Tonight, we invite whatever's on the other side to stand quietly in the room with you. Welcome to Hollywood Séance, when the cameras roll and something else rolls in. Don't break the circle.
Action. The actors are on their marks, the crew goes silent. Everyone holds their breath. But a few feel a cold breath on the back of their neck. The wood floor creaks even though nobody moved. The room temperature drops. Then, some see it. The goosebumps announce it's there. Not on camera, just off to the side. A shadow saunters, slow, purposeful, not belonging to anyone. It pauses just long enough for every instinct in their bodies to scream, "Run!" The dimmer buzzes and the light flickers. That wasn't in the script. One of them breathes out, and their breath fogs white. The others hold their breath because if their breath fogs too, they'll have to admit it's real. The room should not suddenly be this cold. And somewhere, just past the camera frame, something that was not hired for this production leans in closer to watch. Because films have fans, but they aren't all us. Welcome to One Up the Annals. I'm Rab Greeson. Tonight, I'll be your host, the Spirit Tickler. And for the next little while, I'll be telling you what the living saw when the dead got curious. Because as long as Hollywood has made ghost stories, the ghosts have been aware. Film has always been a doorway. Tonight, we're not just looking through it, we're inviting whatever's on the other side to be in the room with you and listen in. Wherever you are right now, bedroom, car, dark, living room, congratulations, you're in the circle. The screen is the candle. Your headphones are the planchette, transcribing. And everyone hearing this is sitting at the same table. So, lights down, volume up. Don't break the circle unless you have to. If something joins us, don't say its name. Just let it stay very, very quiet. If it breathes on the back of your neck, close your eyes and don't flinch. Welcome all fans and whatever came with you to Hollywood Séance, when the cameras roll and something else rolls in. Ready for the temperature to drop and see your breath? The séance begins.
Let's go.
Act 1, The Ghost Machine.
The circle holds. If you're still with us, then nothing has left.
Lolica in nomine.
Some presents do not rush. They linger, they wait, They listen for their names. Tonight, we begin where the first lights flickered, where the shadows learned how to move without bodies, and the dead discovered they could live inside film. Breathe slowly. Do not call out. Do not invite about. Just listen, because in this act, we speak of the moment the ghost first realized they could step into the screen and stay.
Long before film existed, people were already describing ghosts as breath, mist, pale shadows drifting through the world like they'd forgotten how to have a body. So when the first moving pictures flickered on the cracked plaster walls, translucent, half there, some audiences didn't think, technology. They thought, the ghosts have risen. And one of the first filmmakers to notice that similarity didn't run from it, he embraced it. We float like a spirit to the past. It was 1895 to 1896. Cinema barely existed when the Lumiere brothers first projected moving images to crowds in Paris. Trains pulling into stations, workers leaving factories. Life repeating itself on command. People clapped, people gasped. Some people shivered watching the living become pale echoes on a wall. And then a magician walked in. Georges Méliès, French illusionist, stage wizard, trickster. He looked at this new invention and didn't see a camera. What if the dead didn't stay dead? So in 1896, he makes The Haunted Castle, arguably the first horror film ever made. Bats turning into demons, spirits appearing and vanishing in smoke. A devil who doesn't visit your home, he lives there. Audiences had never seen anything like it. Light didn't just show things anymore, light summoned them. And within a year he follows it with The House of the Devil, 1896. Same ghosts, same demons, same uneasy silence, like the camera itself had become a doorway. Because Méliès understood something, maybe before anyone else. Film wasn't just a storytelling tool. Film was the perfect machine for making hauntings. People came to watch the screen. 1896, the first ghost step onto film. And from the very beginning, films were being watched, but sometimes ghosts didn't like what they saw. 1922, Nosferatu, the actor who wasn't human enough. Germany, 1922. A studio called Prana Film produces an unofficial Dracula adaptation. They changed the names to avoid copyright, and they renamed the vampire, Count Orlok. He isn't suave, he isn't charming. Nah, he looks like a corpse that forgot to lie still. Bald skull, needle teeth, fingers like grave dirt twigs, a spine that bends the wrong way when he rises from his coffin. The actor's name was Max Schreck. Schreck in German means terror. People noticed that. They noticed other things too. He didn't blink much. He didn't break character. He filmed mostly at night. Crew whispered that there was something off about him. Some actually thought he was a real vampire. That he didn't remove the makeup. Or maybe there was no makeup. The studio Prana Film was sued by Bram Stoker's widow, and a court ordered every print destroyed. German authorities burned them, but not all of them. Nosferatu survived. The film refused to die, and neither did the rumor. Max Schreck didn't play a vampire. Max Schreck was a vampire, who agreed to play himself. And if you've ever watched Nosferatu alone at night, you know why people believe that. Because he doesn't look like he wants to bite you. He looks like he wants to own you. Forever. 1925, Hollywood builds a home for a ghost. Stage 28. Universal Studios, they didn't build a set, they built a cathedral. A massive recreation of the Paris Opera House interior for the film Phantom of the Opera, 1925, starring Lon Chaney. The Man of 1,000 Faces. Balconies stacked on balconies. Stone arches swallowing sound. a chandelier that could crush you back into the afterlife. And Lon Chaney? He didn't wear simple makeup. He used fishhooks and wires to pull his nose upward, hard dental plates to distort his mouth, black circles painted under his eyes so deep they looked rotten. When his mask is removed on screen, that scream from the actress, it didn't have to be faked. When filming Wrapped, Universal did not tear the set down, they left it standing inside, stage 28. Lights off, door locked, a silent opera house waiting in the dark for nearly 90 years, and in that time, people working late began reporting. Footsteps in the rafters, a shadow moving across the balcony, a man in a cloak sitting, just watching. Stagehands refused to be alone up there. Security guards avoided the catwalks. They said the ghost of the Phantom never clocked out. And when Universal finally demolished Stage 28 in 2014, some people wondered whether the ghost moved out and looking for a new stage. 1927, the film that died on purpose, London After Midnight. Director Todd Browning, the man who would soon direct Bela Lugosi in Dracula in 1931, releases London After Midnight, a detective story starring Lon Chaney dressed like a corpse puppet. Black-rimmed shark eyes, razor-teeth grin, top hat tilted wrong, like the head beneath it isn't built for human hats. The film plays in theaters. People don't forget Chaney's face. Then, 1965. An MGM vault catches fire. Inside, the last known master print. Gone, burned, destroyed. All that remains now are still photographs. Ghost frames of a movie that no longer exists. Collectors have searched basements, archives, private vaults, abandoned theaters, nothing. Almost as if the film erased itself. Because sometimes the scariest story isn't the one you can watch, it's the one that refuses to ever be seen again. By the end of the 1920s, people were already using film to resurrect the dead. Silent theaters echoed like mausoleums. Horror was evolving vampires, phantoms, shadows that shouldn't exist. And the people who worked the late shifts, the one locking up sound stages at 2 a.m., they started hearing things, feeling things, noticing cold spots on sets where there shouldn't be cold. Hearing footsteps overhead on catwalks no one had climbed, and sometimes in the reflection of a dark monitor, seeing a figure standing behind them. Just for a second. Just long enough to know that the camera isn't the only thing staring. The projector clicks off, silence swallows the room, and then, somewhere behind you, a chair scrapes. You turn. Nothing. But the chair isn't where you left it.
Advertute Domini Nostri Jesu Christi, radicare et effugare.
The circle still holds, but the air feels different now, doesn't it? Some presents do not like to be remembered. They arrive slowly, like fog across a stage, and once they touch the light, they do not leave. Keep your hands still. Keep your breath quiet. Do not speak their names out loud. Because in this act, when we enter the stories where fiction invited darkness and darkness accepted, the ones we're about to speak of were filmed with cameras, but something else showed up for work. Listen carefully now. If you feel the room grow colder, that simply means the other ones are here now. You must be careful.
Can you feel the chill? Act 2, when fiction bites back. Movies stop being stories here. They start becoming invitations. Because sometimes when you portray the devil shows up to check your work. The Exorcist, 1973. Director William Friedkin points a camera at a quiet Georgetown house and gets it ready to be haunted and asks if the set is ready. And the house says,
"Yes, I'm ready."
Yes, I am
almost
ready.
immediately the production begins collecting stories. A mysterious blaze tears through the set, destroying nearly everything, except Regan's bedroom. The room where the possession takes place? Untouched, like something inside it didn't want to move. Scenes of demonic possession needed visible breath, so they refrigerated the set hard. Metal freezing, actors shivering so violently that teeth chattered. They said it never quite warmed back up, even when the compressors were shut down, cold, still, watching. The deaths. People connected to the film died during production and release windows. Not all on set, not all direct, but close enough that the stories stick. Number of deaths? Actress Ellen Burstyn stated that 9 people associated with the film died during the production and before its release. Actor Jack McGarren, who played Burke Dennings, and Vasiliki Malarios, who played Father Karras' mother, both died before the film's release. Coincidentally, their characters also died in the movie. Crew members? Deaths included a set technician, an assistant cameraman's newborn baby, the man who provided refrigeration for the set, and a night watchman. Relatives? Max von Sydow's brother and Linda Blair's grandfather died during the filming. Other incidents? Both Ellen Burstyn and Linda Blair sustained permanent back injuries during filming due to stunt mishaps. Paul Bateson, a cast member who played a radiologic technologist, was later convicted of the murder of a Variety reporter. Years later, the son of Mercedes Cambridge, the voice of the demon, committed a murder-suicide on his family. The church gets asked to bless the production. A priest arrives, sacrament meets cinema, and for a moment, everyone breathes easier, but only for a moment. Because the scariest part of The Exorcist isn't Regan crawling backwards down the stairs. It's the idea that when you invite evil in for pretend, it might really forget to leave. The Omen, 1976. Coincidence? Starts taking notes. 3 years later, a film about the birth of the Antichrist. A little boy named Damien.
It's all for you, Damien.
And a production that, to this day, feels like fate was taking cheap shots. A plane carrying star Gregory Peck is struck by lightning. A separate plane carrying producer Mace Newfield also struck. Different aircraft, different flights, same sky, same movie. A flight originally booked for production is switched at the last second. The plane that takes off crashes, no survivors. Rottweilers attack trainers, baboons went crazy scaring crew. And a zookeeper assisting production is mauled to death by lions shortly after. A special effects artist is injured in a violent car crash. His partner dies in a very similar violent way as a death in the movie. And nobody can quite explain it in a better way that makes anyone feel better. They just lower their voice, look over their shoulder, and wish they could forget. Rosemary's Baby, 1968. The devil moves into New York. Before The Exorcist, before The Omen, there was Rosemary's Baby. Released in 1968, directed by Roman Polanski. Filmed in and around the Dakota, a gothic Manhattan apartment building so heavy with presence that the air feels thicker inside. In the movie, a woman realizes that her unborn child has been promised to the devil. Off-screen, the Dakota's shadow. Years later, musician John Lennon is murdered outside this very building. His ghost is rumored to be seen in the halls because the walls remember. Polanski's wife, actress Sharon Tate, is brutally murdered in 1969 by the Manson family. The horror feels connected, even when we know it isn't. Because our brains don't accept coincidence when darkness is already in the room. Christophe Comeda, the film's composer, falls, suffers a head injury, and dies. And people whisper, you don't tell the devil's story without paying rent. Wait a second. Are you wondering the same thing I am? Because you'd think, after a movie about the devil's unborn kid, a real-life rock icon murdered outside the front door, and decades of whispered paranoia, the Dakota building in New York would eventually, I don't know, calm down? Nah. No, it did not. And this week's wait, really? Rabbit hole? Is this. Yes, the Dakota still appears to be haunted. Not like urban legend haunted, like multiple residents over multiple decades quietly saying the same weird things, and deciding just to live with it. So let's walk through the most reported, most documented, most consistent spirits still on the cast list. Number 1. The little girl with the red ball. Multiple residents, totally separate from one another, describe seeing the same thing. A little girl in period clothes, standing in the halls or near a window, bouncing a red ball. And this is the part that sticks in the brain like a song lyric you didn't ask for. She tells people,
It's my birthday!
and then she's gone. Same girl, same line, different witnesses, different years. Number 2, the crying lady in the hallway. This one, John Lennon saw her. Before his death, he told Yoko he repeatedly seen a woman wandering the long Dakota hallways. She doesn't interact, she doesn't threaten, she just exists in the wrong place and time. And later residents say, yeah, her? We've seen her too. Number 3, John Lennon didn't entirely leave. Oh yeah, we're going there. After his murder, Yoko said she saw John back inside their Dakota apartment, sitting at the white piano, and he turned to her and said, "Don't be afraid, I'm still with you." And on another night, 2 separate witnesses outside the building claimed they saw John again, standing near the entrance arch where he was killed, recognizable, present, and glowing. Not metaphorical glowing, actual glowing. So either the afterlife is sentimental or the Dakota has a no one checks out policy. Number 4, the apartment with the chandelier that didn't exist. Frederick and Susan Weinstein lived on the 3rd floor. They reported footsteps when they were alone, dining chairs and rugs moving themselves. But this is the one you'll think about tonight. One night, Frederick looks up from the street and sees a bright crystal chandelier blazing through his own living room window. Except, they didn't own a chandelier. He runs upstairs, no light, no chandelier, but the ceiling still had the bolt holes where one used to hang. So the building remembered the chandelier, and apparently, so did something else. Number 5, the basement metal bar that threw itself. A porter takes a tenant downstairs to show him how objects keep moving on their own. While they're down there, a heavy metal bar flies across the room and lands at the porter's feet, barely missing him. When he tries to pick it up, it's so heavy he can hardly lift it. So something strong threw something heavy, on purpose. But sure, rats. Let's go with rats. Number 6, the man with the body that didn't match the face. In the 1960s, a construction worker reports seeing a grown man's body with a young boy's face. Just standing, watching the workers, silent, present, and then gone. So let's ask the Annals question. Does the Dakota building still feel haunted? Yes. Deeply. Repeatedly. And by multiple different entities who apparently do not care about lease agreements. And here's the part that really messes with me. These aren't thrill seekers telling stories after a tour. These are residents, porters, wives, friends, musicians, people with day jobs, people who still live there, people who don't need attention, people who just quietly say, yeah, sometimes we're not alone.
No, you're not alone.
And the Dakota just keeps sitting there, gothic, watching, still listening, like a building that knows secrets you're not old enough to hear yet. Roll camera, cue chill. And don't look in the hallway, because if someone is standing there, she might be holding a red ball. Section 4, The Conqueror, 1956. The land remembers what man did to it. Now we step sideways into a film that isn't horror at all. And that might be the scariest part. 1956, a historical epic called The Conqueror, starring John Wayne as Genghis Khan. Because Hollywood was like that. They film in St. George, Utah, a picturesque desert, quiet, still, and also downwind of a U.S. nuclear test site. Between 1951 and 1953, over 100 atomic detonations had showered radioactive dust across the region. So when the Conqueror cast and crew arrive, they're not stepping onto a movie set, they're stepping onto contaminated ground. Over the following decades, many members of this production, actors, crew, even the director, developed cancer. Not all, but enough that the story stops being statistics and starts becoming a curse. Section 5, the rule no one wrote, but everyone learned. By now, filmmakers are learning, quietly, something you never see in a contract. When you make a movie about the devil, tragedy sticks closer to the cameras. When you film on cursed land, the curse doesn't care if you're on lunch break. And when you tell a story that makes people afraid of the dark sometimes answers back. These aren't urban legends told in campgrounds. They're whispered in studio lots after midnight by people who have to come back to work tomorrow. And every one of them knows that if something moves in the shadows on set, they're not allowed to scream. They just mark the slate and roll sound. Act 3, the television starts talking back.
Exorcismus te omnis immunde spiritus.
Keep focused. The other spirits are restless, but now you must be very still. Some stories are not stories. They are rooms that never fully empty. And the one we are about to speak of is a room like that. There were cameras, there were lights, there were marks taped on the floor, and there were bones. Bones that did not consent to be placed beneath electric suns and told to perform. The living thought they were telling a ghost story, but the dead were already there. If your breath begins to feel shallow, if you notice the faintest scent of damp earth, if you feel as though someone has stepped closer without making a sound, do not turn around. Just listen, because in this telling, we are not calling them. We are acknowledging that they were never gone.
Section 1, Poltergeist 1982. They're here, and they weren't leaving. A suburban family, a little girl staring into the television snow. A movie called Poltergeist. And the set it was filmed on has never quite felt finished. Because this one comes with the kind of details that make even skeptics stop talking. There's a scene, you know it, where actress Jo Beth Williams falls into a muddy backyard pool. Filled with floating corpses. The rumor? They used real human skeletons as props, because they were cheaper than plastic ones at the time. Studios deny it, crew members shrug, and the legend settles in like fog. Because if there's one way to guarantee you don't sleep well, it's wondering whether the dead were invited onto set without even being asked.
We were already here.
This is widely believed to be true. Jo Beth Williams confirmed in interviews that the production used real skeletons because they were cheaper than the rubber ones available in the 80s. The legend? Rumors suggest that by using real remains, without proper ritual or respect, the production disturbed spirits, leading to the tragedies that followed. Death doesn't become a myth unless grief takes its hand, and around Poltergeist, death followed. The curse gained traction because 4 major cast members died within a 6-year span. Actress who played Dana Freeling, just months after the first film's release, the 22-year-old actress was murdered by her abusive ex-boyfriend. Actress who played Carol Ann. The face of the franchise died suddenly at age 12 in 1988. Initially, misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease. She actually had a congenital intestinal blockage that led to septic shock and cardiac arrest during the filming of Poltergeist 3. Actor who played Kane. The terrifying preacher from Poltergeist 2 died of stomach cancer in 1985 before the film was even released. Actor who played Taylor the Shaman, a real-life Creek medicine man and actor. He died in 1987 following a heart-lung transplant. Beyond the deaths, several eerie stories that have emerged from the sets. Widely told, not 100% confirmed. The Killer Clown. It's reported by sources that the scene where Robbie, Oliver Robbins, is strangled by the clown doll The mechanical puppet actually malfunctioned. Robbins was genuinely being choked and turning purple. Steven Spielberg reportedly had to jump in to pull the doll off him, realizing the boy wasn't just acting. The on-set exorcism. Will Sampson was reportedly so unsettled by the bad energy on the set of Poltergeist 2 that he performed an actual exorcism blessing late one night after filming to clear the air. The photo mystery. Zelda Rubinstein, Tangina, claimed that during a photo shoot for the third film, a mysterious light blur appeared in her photos. She later claimed she felt her mother's soul passing at that exact moment, only to find out later that her mother had indeed died at the time. People stop joking about it. They don't say curse, they say you've heard about Poltergeist, right? And everyone nods, nobody laughs, because this isn't a fun ghost story anymore. This one feels like the door never closed properly. And something is still standing in the threshold. Section 2. The Changeling, 1980. 2 years earlier, actor George C. Scott moves into a mansion filled with echoes, in a film called The Changeling. It's about a grieving man, a ghost child, a secret buried beneath the floorboards. But what really made this one cling to people? It was inspired by a story the screenwriter swore was true. A haunting he believed he personally experienced. And the movie carries that belief like a fever. Film crews reported strange unease in certain rooms. Cold patches, that feeling, you know the one, of being watched through the back of your skull. No explosions, no curses, just a house that feels like it can breathe. Slowly, like it's waiting for you to make a mistake, so it can finally tell you the secret it's been swallowing for 100 years. Section 3, The Conjuring Era. Fast forward, ghost hunting is mainstream, paranormal shows, EVP, night vision, bump in the night tourism. Enter The Conjuring, movies based on the cases of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. And if you believe the cast and crew, this wasn't just fiction. Shooting begins, weirdness follows. People report feeling watched even off-set. Sudden cold drafts indoors. Phone lines crackling with static. Shadows moving across walls you could swear were empty. Some actors say they dreamt about the spirits they were portraying. Others say they didn't dream at all because they couldn't sleep. And then the fire. At one point, materials connected to the production are destroyed in a freak fire. Everything keeps marching along because movies always do. But privately, people start bringing rosaries, charms, quiet prayers. Hollywood, the most cynical machine on earth, suddenly remembers how to be afraid of the dark. Section 4, Session 9 and the Innkeepers. Sometimes a haunting doesn't follow you, sometimes you walk right into it. Session 9, 2001, filmed inside the abandoned Danvers State Mental Hospital in Massachusetts, a building with as much whispered dread as brickwork. The architecture looks like it holds grudges. Cameras roll, actors perform, and yet, everyone agrees the real co-star is the building itself. Dead quiet. Then a noise down the hall. A wheelchair that wasn't there before, now is. Nobody jokes, they just keep filming. Because if you leave, you have to walk back through the hallways, and nobody wants to be the last one out. The Innkeepers, 2011. Shot inside the Yankee Peddler Inn in Connecticut, a hotel famous for one particular guest who supposedly never checked out. The crew slept in the hotel while filming, so if something wanted to visit, it didn't have to go far. Doors open, footsteps where there shouldn't be footsteps. And that feeling again, that the room was just slightly more crowded than the eye could prove. Because some sets you fake, and some you move into. Section 5, the television never turns off. We've reached an age where TV is always on, phones never sleep, streaming follows you to bed. And the old boundary, screen here, reality there, has dissolved. So when something moves wrong in the corner of a frame, when a blur walks through the background, when a shadow appears that doesn't match anyone on set, We don't call the police. We rewind. We squint. We zoom in frame by frame like archaeologists of the uncanny. And sometimes, just for a second, there's a figure standing right there. Not glitch, not artifact, just present. Watching the actors, watching the crew, watching you. And when you blink, it's gone. But here's the problem. You rewound it once, which means it's still in the file, waiting.
I'm still here.
Because modern ghosts, they don't need castles. They live inside the pixels, right now. On whatever you're using to listen to this show. Act 4, the ghost we invent because the truth is already too dark. We're going to Oz. And you're not gonna like it.
The circle holds, and now we must speak carefully, because not every spirit begins as a presence. Some are born from whispers, a shadow in the trees, a blur in the window, a shape you swear you saw until everyone else heard. A rumor, repeated long enough, is kind of a spell. And when we tell those stories at sleepovers, in school halls, rewinding the same scene on worn-out tape, we are not just watching the film. We are freeing the ghost we decided must be there. Listen closely now. You may find that what we invent can haunt us just as deeply as what we inherit. And somewhere just beyond the frame, the real darkness waits, very quietly, grateful for the distraction. The circle remains open.
Section 1, The Wizard of Oz, 1939, The Ghost in the Tree. Everyone knows the story. Dorothy, Scarecrow, Tin Man, Cowardly Lion. And somewhere, if you freeze frame the right moment, a shadow hanging from a tree.
Do you see me now?
The legend goes like this. One of the Munchkin actors hanged himself on set. The body is visible in the final film. MGM covered it up. They left it in. The studio hoped no one would notice. Except, everyone did. Kids on VHS rewound the scene until the tape warped. They swore they could see it. A small figure swinging gently at the back of the yellow brick road. You can picture it now, can't you? And for decades, that rumor refused to die. People said the studio treated the actors cruelly, that the production was chaotic, that beneath the glittering technicolor, there was rot. So the idea of a soul giving up, right there on the happiest set in Hollywood history, felt true. Whether it was or not. The hanging figure was actually a wandering bird, a marabou stork, on loan from the Los Angeles Zoo. That's how a haunting works. It gets inside what you already fear, and it blooms there. Because even when the studio gives explanations, even when restoration shows something else in the trees, the shadow still feels wrong. Like there should be a ghost there. Because a world that bright demands a darkness somewhere just off screen. And now, every time you watch that scene, your eyes go straight to the back, to that one patch of shadow, and you wait to see if it moves. Section 2, Behind the Curtain, the darkness was real anyway. Even if that shadow wasn't a body, Oz wasn't safe. Cast misery, dangerous makeup, injuries, control, no one walking away unchanged. So when the rumor started, it didn't sound impossible. It sounded like the truth revealing itself, just sideways. Because the most powerful ghosts are born from things nobody wants to say out loud. So they whisper them instead. Section 3, Three Men and a Baby, 1987. The Boy in the Window. Fast forward, different decade, different genre, a harmless comedy. Until someone pauses the VHS and sees a child standing in a window. Not an extra, not a reflection, a little boy watching. And suddenly the story arrives. A kid died in that apartment. The ghost showed up in the background. They left it in. You can see him if you pause it just right. Millions of living rooms became seance rooms overnight. Kids whispering, parents rewinding, everyone leaning toward the TV like it might bite. Because secretly, we love the idea that movies are porous, that something on the other side might reach through just for a second, just enough to be seen. and then vanish before anyone can prove it. Section 4. Why these myths never die. Here's the truth you really didn't want. Ghosts don't need to be real to haunt you. They just need 3 simple ingredients. 1. Something truly uncanny on screen. A shadow, a blur, a glitch, a mistake. 2. A whisper that spreads faster than facts. School hallways, sleepovers, late night radio, internet message boards. The rumor becomes a living thing. 3. A truth underneath that hurts too much. Cruel studios, exhausted actors, unpaid labor, control, silence. And suddenly, that shadow in Oz, that kid in the window, they're not just images anymore. They're confessions from Hollywood, from us, from somewhere just out of the frame. Section 5. The rule of the haunted screen. Once a ghost appears on film, it's forever, even if it isn't really there, because you saw it, your brain logged it, and now every time the scene plays again, your heart remembers before your eyes do. That place on screen stops being part of the set. It becomes a doorway. And what's a doorway for, if not letting something through? Don't look up. You won't like what's in the branches.
The circle still holds, and now we come to the part most people mistake for silence. It isn't. It is the place where fear settles. Not in the shadows, not in the corners, but in you. Because the truth is simple. Hauntings do not live in the walls. They live in the moments you cannot explain and cannot forget. A breath that wasn't yours. A chair that wasn't where you left it. A presence you never turned to face. The ghosts we've spoken of tonight are not bound to film reels, or sound stages, or locked studio doors. They live in memory, and memory never dies. So as we step into this final act, do not fear the dark around you. Fear the dark that follows you home. The circle remains open.
Act 5. Why haunted sets never let go. You're not alone anymore, but here's the twist. You never were. Section 1, the first rule of haunting. The ghost doesn't have to be real, you do. Every haunting begins the same way. You see something that shouldn't be there. A shadow, a shape, a blur in the corner of the frame. And before the rational part of your brain fires up, the older part waits first. The part that learned long before electricity that the dark is never empty. That instinct doesn't care about science or contracts or behind-the-scenes documentaries. It just whispers, don't turn your back on that. And you don't, because haunted sets don't live in Hollywood. They live in the moment your pulse jumps. That's their address, and you invited them in. Section 2, the second rule. The camera is a mirror with sharp edges. A mirror reflects the living. A camera reflects the past. People don't exist anymore, still walking around, still talking, still laughing, still screaming. And that's wrong. Somewhere deep in the wiring of the brain is a rule older than language. The dead do not move. Film breaks that rule every second. So your mind watches a movie and quietly asks if the dead can move there, why not here? Why not behind you? Why not in the next room? Why not in the space between blinks that no one else gets to see? This is why even the most rational person still checks the hallway after a good ghost story. We don't fear the dark. We fear the idea that the camera caught something real, and we were never meant to see it. Section 3, the third rule. Rumor is a virus, and you are a host. Haunted set legends don't spread because they're true. They spread because they're useful. A tense crew whispers about a noise overhead. A tired actress mentions a strange feeling on set. A rumor grows legs and a name and a backstory before lunch break. And once a myth enters your head, it doesn't leave. It just waits for the lights to turn off. Rumor is the ghost delivery system. Your voice, your memory, your curiosity. You don't hunt the ghost hunts your mouth. It needs you to tell someone else, and you will. You already have. Section 4, the fourth rule. Truth is not the point. You know what's funny? None of this depends on proof. Not skeleton props, not cursed scripts, not locations with names that echo when you say them. Haunted sets work because they ask a better question. What if it is? What if Max Shrek wasn't acting? What if Stage 28 had a permanent resident? What if the land beneath the Conqueror was whispering long before the crew arrived? What if the poltergeist door never fully closed? What if that shadow in Oz really was someone who didn't want to be forgotten? And right now, in whatever room you're listening from, what if you aren't the only one listening? Don't look yet. Just don't. Section 5, the fifth rule. Ghosts live where belief goes to hide. You don't have to believe in ghosts out loud, you just have to behave like you do. The way you close the closet instead of leaving it open. The way you don't dangle your arm over the mattress edge. The way you check who's standing behind you in reflective glass. Belief doesn't need worship, it just needs habit. And you've been practicing your whole life. So when a movie set goes wrong, when coincidences stack like bones, when rumors turn into story and story turns into legend, you don't weigh the evidence, you turn the lights on, and you tell yourself you're being silly, and the dark waits. Because haunted sets aren't about the actors or the props or the scripts. They're about the fact that your brain is perfectly willing to meet the supernatural halfway, especially after midnight. Section 6, the final rule. The ghost doesn't stay in the story. You think the episode ends when you hit stop. It doesn't. Haunted stories trail behind you like cigarette smoke. They settle in the room, in the corners, and the places the vacuum never quite reaches. They sit at the foot of the bed quietly, politely, waiting to see whether you look at them. And when you do, they don't move. They don't have to. You did. You tell yourself it's the house, and then you remember, you don't live in a house that creaks. Every film you've ever seen has an ending. The music swells, the credits roll. Someone turns the lights back on. That's how movies work. But haunted sets don't care about structure. Haunted sets don't fade to black. Because whatever walked across those stages, whatever stood just beyond those lights, it doesn't leave when the camera stops. Think about the stories we walk through tonight. A vampire who may not have been pretending, a stage that kept its phantom, films where accidents didn't feel accidental, skeletons that didn't feel like props, locations where the walls pressed closer than they should, and rumors that refused to die. Because people knew deep down that some shadows don't need permission. Sets get torn down, actors grow old, studios change hands, but the ghosts, they stay right where they found you. Which means when the crew packed up, when the last light switched off, when the lock clicked on the soundstage door, anything still inside stayed inside. And anything that followed someone home, followed them all the way. I don't know where you're listening from right now, bedroom, car, dark living room. But here's the part most people don't think about. Haunted films don't live on the reels anymore. They live in the files, streams, downloads. The thing that looked back at the crew. It's baked into the image now, which means if it wanted to watch you too, it could. You don't have to believe me. Just before you go to bed tonight, notice if your hallway feels a little longer. Notice if the closet door has drifted open. Notice if when you close your eyes, there's a moment where someone else is still looking. This has been One Up the Annals. I'm Rab Greeson, and tonight, the cameras rolled, and something else rolled in. Where shame becomes legend, legend becomes haunted, and your search history is now officially cursed. You came for the movies, you stayed because the shadows wouldn't let you leave. And now, let's close the circle and put it in the annals.
The circle has been held. To the ones who listened and the ones who lingered, thank you for your silence. You may return to your places now. Nothing that was invited may follow you beyond this moment. Nothing that listened may cross the threshold. Candle is extinguished. The table is empty. The door is closed. You are no longer being watched. Go softly and rest.
I came for the facts. You aren't leaving alone, and now it's in the annals.
It's my birthday.
Good night.